Hello and welcome to Pedro's Movie Cavern. My name is Pedro. This is my movie cavern and this is my 10 favourite zombie movies with a couple of honourable mentions. The reason I'm doing this video is because I've just binge watched seasons 1 to 9 and the miniseries and Daryl Dixon season 3 of The Walking Dead over the last 2-3 weeks or so, and it got me thinking about zombie movies and how I love so many zombie movies, and went through a period of watching hundreds of them, the good ones, the bad ones, the mediocre ones, the ones shot on VHS, the ones shot on crappy digital video, and so I thought, well, there's a lot of, obviously, being a movie fan, I started in horror very early. I say very early. With horror movies were one of the main things that got me into movies as a collector. So I've got 10 movies. I think it's 10. It might even be more. That I would consider my top 10, but they're not going to be in any form of order. So I'm going to kick it off with the first one. Obviously, there's going to be movies on this list that everyone's going to be like, that film is rubbish, or why is it at that? Why have you put that first? These aren't in order. These are just films that I love. These are 10 movies that I love, plus some honorable mentions. So the first one is obviously going to be the daddy of the zombie movie, and it's George A. Romero's Dawn of the Dead from 1978. I absolutely adore this movie. It is my top 5 films of all time. It is my favourite horror film of all time. And the story of how I came to this movie is, it's always going to be etched into my brain. And it's from Halloween in 1998. UK Gold, a TV series, a TV channel here in the UK. It's called UK TV Gold now. They used to show a lot of old BBC comedies and quiz shows and stuff like that from the late 80s, early 90s, and things like Only Fools and Horses and Dad's Army and Keeping Up Appearances, those type of shows. But over Halloween, the lead up to the 31st, the week leading up to the 31st, they would put horror movies on. And one night I read in the TV guide, which I can't even I don't remember the last time I bought a TV guide because I don't have television anymore. I got rid of that when we moved. I read in the TV guide that there was this movie. It was a zombie movie, and I didn't know anything about it, and I didn't know who George A. Romero was, didn't know what Dawn of the Dead was, but I set my VHS player to record it. So I recorded it, and then I watched it either the next day or the day after, and that was history. That's history. I absolutely fell in love with the movie. I fell in love with zombie survival. I fell in love with George Romero's movies because of this film. I found Night of the Living Dead, also Day of the Dead, Land of the Dead. The list goes on, but also films like The Crazies and Two Evil Eyes, which he did with Dario Argento. There's always Vanilla, Martin. His entire catalogue of movies just came to me because I just randomly recorded this off VHS one morning. And it's so goddamn good. I adore this movie so much. And that's why this is my favourite of the zombie movies. Blah, 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 blah. And obviously, following on from Dawn of the Dead, we have another George Romero movie from 1985. It is George Romero's classic, The Day of the Dead, from 1985, starring Laura Cardell and what's his name? Jarlath Conroy played Rhodes. My brain's switched off now, but this is pinnacle, peak 80s gore zombie special effects, and it's fantastic. It took me a long while to actually get into Day of the Dead, but when I finally did, I loved it. Obviously, not for me personally. I don't think it's as good as Day of the Dead, and I also don't think it's as good as Night of the Living Dead. However, of the three movies, this is kind of like the Return of the Jedi of the zombie saga, the Romero zombie saga. I love Return of the Jedi, but it's not my favourite. However, Day of the Dead, I love. It's not my favourite. That would be Dawn. And so, yeah, this is the Arrow release. It does have a slipcase, but the slipcase is up on the shelf by there. It's just it wouldn't fit on the shelf with the slipcase on. So, yeah, Day of the Dead. And then, obviously, you can't have Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, without the one that started it all, 1968's Night of the Living Dead, George Romero's first film made with John Russo, or written and produced by John Russo, who they were producing partners for many, many years after that. Made on a shoestring budget, shot on, I believe, 16mm film. Yeah, this is like low budget indie filmmaking before low budget indie filmmaking was a thing. And I'm not talking like Easy Rider low budget or that type of new style Hollywood. This was like dude in Pittsburgh who works for a television company decided to make a horror movie, and this bad boy was the culmination of everybody working together. And this is the Criterion release. I have had multiple releases of Night of the Living Dead over the years from many different public domain public domain like cheapo releases where they've just digitized a copy and whacked it on a disc. No restoration or anything. Then I had which one did I have? It might have been the Network Blu-ray, which didn't have for long because Optimum released their Blu-ray, which gave the film a whole new look. And then obviously Criterion released their version, which for me, I know there's a 4K of this now, but this is the definitive version of this movie. I've never seen it look as good as it does on this Criterion release. Just amazing. Interesting fact about Night of the Living Dead, which if you know zombie movies or if you know anything about George Romero movies, you will know that the reason why this has had so many re-releases and so many remakes and stuff is because this film was unfortunately never copyrighted. It was originally called Night of Anubis, but the title was changed, but the title was never copyrighted. So the film ended up then becoming a public domain movie, which allowed anyone who had access to a 35mm or a 16mm reel of this to be able to do whatever they wanted with it and not have to worry about getting copyright strikes or getting sued for copyright infringement, because it was a public domain movie, because it wasn't copyrighted. But yeah, Night of the Living Dead, the one that started it all, amazing. And I'm going to finish off with another Romero movie, and even though those three movies are like the goats of the genre and like they are just phenomenal movies, I like to think of this one as the fourth part of that series, of that trilogy, so to make it a quadrilogy. And like, I really, really admire this film, because this film took a lot of stuff that was initially cut out of Day of the Dead because of budget and ratings. So Romero wanted to make a hard R zombie epic, but had his budget cut and had the budget cut, which prevented him from putting what he wanted to do into the film, so he could keep the hard R rating. But with $19 million, probably the highest budget he's ever had for a movie, in 2005, he gave us Land of the Dead. Sorry, the lighting's not great in here. Land of the Dead. This was his sort of big budget return to the zombie universe, having not made a zombie movie since 1985. Obviously, he'd made a couple of movies prior to this, specifically Bruiser being the most obvious one. Again, which is still kind of like a sort of small dot in a filmography from someone like Romero. I mean, I don't think he'd made a film since producing the Night of the Living Dead remake in 1990. And writing that. But yeah, I think the last film he made was in the 80s, maybe the dark half. But don't quote me on that. But Land of the Dead is very cool. Like Night, Dawn, and Day, each movie follows a specific theme that runs through it. Night being a sort of allegory for the for racism in the South and segregation. Even though Romero says it's not, it clearly is, and it's also like sort of anti-Vietnam movie as well. Dawn of the Dead is all about consumerism and how people become sheep, if you know what I mean. And then you've got Day, which is sort of, it has the theme of, I guess you could say, science versus military, which is that is the actual theme of the film. It's like the military versus scientists in an underground bunker. But I suppose with Day, the apocalypse is so far into it now that the theme is probably going to be like depression and something like that, and the loss of hope in a world that is overrun with just death and terror. But Land of the Dead kind of has this rich versus poor theme that runs through it, and you can see that from the people who live in Fiddler's Green, which is the great big tower run by Kaufman, who is played by Dennis Hopper, and then the people underneath, below in the streets, who are sort of like the dregs of society, who all live on this sort of Escape from New York type island, who fill and keep everyone else in the tower blocks alive by going on runs and stuff like that. Is led by Riley, who is played by the guy from Mentalist, and John Leguizamo. It's a really fun movie. There's an evolution to the zombies in this as well. I'm not a fan of evolving zombies. One thing I didn't like about Walking Dead was the variant zombies. I don't like smart zombies. I just like brainless, sort of munchy, slow-moving zombies. I'm not a big fan of running zombies either. However, there are multiple movies where the zombies run in this stack. But yeah, Land of the Dead, 2005. Romero's last sort of, as there was a video on YouTube, it called it his swan song. I kind of agree with this. Because Diary of the Dead, it's okay, and Survival of the Dead is just a man who's unfortunately lost it. But Land of the Dead, fantastic movie, love it. And sort of a sequel, non-sequel, same universe typey dealy is Shaun of the Dead. Shaun of the Dead is when I was watching an interview with Simon Pegg and Edgar Wright, they said that this kind of takes place during the same zombie apocalypse as Dawn of the Dead and the other movies. However, you can take that as you want. All I know is that the zombie virus in this is caused by GM crops, whereas in Night of the Living Dead it's a fallen satellite. So I wouldn't say it. But Shaun of the Dead is fucking awesome. I saw this in the cinema and I loved it ever since I saw it. This wouldn't have existed without the television series Spaced. There's a specific episode of Spaced where the character of Tim, played by Simon Pegg, is playing Resident Evil, and he keeps seeing zombies everywhere. And it's great. It's so good. And yeah, because of that specific episode, they came up with the idea for Shaun of the Dead. And this is a film that is quoted daily in my brain. and I love it. And this is the 4K, and yeah, one of the greatest zombie movies ever made. Incredibly funny, incredibly well written, and yeah, it's just great. This is the 4K. Oh, lovely, lovely, like lovely bee. This is the 20th anniversary, actually, 20th anniversary of Shaun of the Dead. Now, it's sort of like the opposite to Romero's zombie apocalypse is Dan O'Bannon's zombie apocalypse with Return of the Living Dead. I'm sorry about the lighting. For some reason, I don't know why there's really bad lighting in here. If I put other lighting on, it's going to blare off the thing. But Night of the Living Dead, this is not Night of the Living, Return of the Living Dead from 1985, I believe, as well. Directed by Dan O'Bannon, written by Dan O'Bannon as well. This again gave birth to another series of films, which was followed by Return of the Living Dead Part 2, Part 3, which was directed by Brian Usner, which is a little bit different, and then there were 2 straight-to-DVD sequels in the either late 90s or early noughties that were just rubbish, and there is another one coming, apparently. Who knows? But Return of the Living Dead is really cool. It's a zombie comedy from the 80s. This is where everyone gets the idea of brains from. And there's some very odd special effects in this. The zombie apocalypse is caused by the leak of a substance known as trioxin that accidentally falls off the back of a military transport vehicle into this small US town, and starts bringing the dead back to life. A lot of fun, very silly, very gory, and yeah, just great. I love Return of the Living Dead. Return of the Living Dead. I'm kind of, this is a steelbook, by the way. I'm kind of upset that I wasn't able to get the Arrow Collector's Edition, but hopefully if one comes into work, I can nab a copy of that, because I think this goes for a little bit now. But yeah, great movie, Return of the Living Dead. Jed. Following on from Return of the Living Dead is a completely different type of zombie film. A very kinetic, very sort of different take on the zombie apocalypse. It comes from South Korea, and it is the masterpiece that is Train to Busan. This is about a zombie outbreak in Korea, and follows a father trying to get his daughter out of the city, out of where they are, to Busan, while zombies are everywhere. Korea has this thing with zombies where zombies like crick their neck like that, and it's very cool. They do it in quite a lot of things. They do it in this. They did it in the sequel to this, which is Train to Busan 2. Begins with a P. Can't remember now. It wasn't as good as this movie. No, not at all. But the same in the TV series that came out, All of Us Are Dead, which is a phenomenal TV show and incredibly violent and bloody, which we do have a series 2 coming soon. And I think the same for Kingdom as well on Netflix, which is another, like, it's more of a period zombie movie, zombie TV show. But this is adrenaline fueled, is non-stop. Probably like the best zombie film of the last 20 years. Yeah, 20 years. So this came out in 2016. So the last 10 years would probably be this. Yeah, it's just so cool. There is, like I said, there's a sequel, but there's also an animated prequel to this as well called Soul Station, which I think is about how the outbreak actually started. But Train to Busan is amazing. I've had this Blu-ray for so long, but I've seen it multiple times. But the Blu-ray, I've seen the film multiple times, but the Blu-ray's still sealed. I might have to crack that open. So yeah, Train to Busan. Now the film with the first film with the running zombies. I think nope, that had running zombies. The second film with running zombies is another Dawn of the Dead, and it is the remake of Dawn of the Dead, Zack Snyder's remake of Dawn of the Dead, written by James Gunn, starring Sarah Polley, Ving Rhames, Jake Weber, and Mekhi Phifer, as well as other people that you'd recognise from TV shows. The guy from Modern Family is in this. I've never seen Modern Family. And who else is in this? We also have... What is this? There's a sort of cameo, I guess, by Matt Frewer is in this. Boyd Banks is in this. You'd recognise Boyd Banks in this film because he plays a zombie. He plays the meat cleaver zombie in this, Land of the Dead. So yeah, Dawn of the Dead. What I love about this movie is it's Zack Snyder's first movie, so it doesn't have all the Zack Snyderisms. So he's still finding his way. It still has some sort of Zack Snyderisms, but the intro to the apocalypse is phenomenal. Like the way the film shows the chaos of a zombie apocalypse beginning. I've never seen it done better than in the Dawn of the Dead remake. And I think that's a testament to the writing of both James Gunn and the vision that Zack Snyder had for this movie. Now, if anyone's going to say, yeah, but what about World War Z? That had a really good opening. World War Z sucks. World War Z is not on this list because it's fucking awful. Having read the book multiple times and listened to the audiobook multiple times, World War Z, the movie, is a series of action sequences put together by scenes of Brad Pitt talking to the government. It's awful. There is nothing about that film that has anything to do with World War Z by Max Brooks, apart from the title. It's a terrible, terrible movie. I rewatched it a couple of weeks ago, and I realised how fucking awful that film was. And it should not have made the money that it made. And I'm glad there isn't a sequel, because the sequel would probably just be shit. But this, Dawn of the Dead, is great. Like I said, for me, it has the best depiction of the start of a zombie apocalypse. Followed by the few episodes of Fear the Walking Dead. Because in The Walking Dead, we don't necessarily see the beginning of the apocalypse. We don't see how it starts. But Fear the Walking Dead does actually show certain aspects of that. So there's like riots in the streets and the military taking over and stuff like that. Now, that is what interests me. That is where I kind of want to see that stuff. Also, another really good depiction of the beginning of the zombie apocalypse is the Netflix TV series Black Summer. The first few episodes of that, are intense. But yes, this Dawn of the Dead, a great movie. My favorite Zack Snyder film. Probably, I think, Zack Snyder's best movie, followed by Watchmen. Anything else after that is kind of trash. But yeah, Dawn of the Dead, 2004. How many have we got left? How many have we done? We've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We've got 2 left. So the last 2, and there are 3 honourable mentions. The last 2 are 1986 classic from writer-director Fred Decker. It is the follow-up to his Fun as Hell. I believe it was Fun as Hell. Follow-up? It might be follow-up. Follow-up to The Monster Squad, and it is Night of the Creeps. Such a great, fun little horror zombie comedy. Stars Jason Lively, Steve Marshall, Jill Whitlow, and Tom Atkins as Detective Cameron. Has a great line in this movie, which is, I got good news and I got bad news. The good news is your dates are here. The bad news is they're dead. Fun little movie. I hadn't seen this for a long, long time. In fact, I think the first time I saw this, it was on Virgin Media On Demand for like $3.99. So I ordered it online. I ordered it through the TV box, watched it, loved it. And then I realised that it was getting released on Region 1 DVD because it never had a release over here. So I ordered the Region 1 DVD. That came. Loved it again. ordered the Region A, no, ordered the Region 3 Blu-ray. That came, watched it in high def, loved it, and then my brother got me this for Christmas one year, and this is the Eureka release of Night of the Creeps. Just so good. It's about a college freshman who gets mixed up in sort of like an alien invasion zombie prom thing. It's great. It's a lot of fun, a lot of silly tongue-in-cheek humor and references to past movies. Detective Cameron being one of the references in it. It's a reference to James Cameron. Tom Atkins is great. He has some of the best lines in this movie. And yeah, it's great. It's really good. What more can I say? It's Night of the Creeps. I was going to choose Night of the Comet as well, but Night of the Comet only really has like 3 zombies in it. This has a fair few. And I also love Night of the Comet. And the final film, a film that was made to capitalize on the success of Dawn of the Dead, much like a lot of Italian horror movies did in the 1970s and 80s, where they kind of capitalized on films that had been successful from America by making their own versions of them. This one kind of stands out to against a backdrop of shit Italian movies. There's a few Italian horror films that I do like, namely like Cannibal Holocaust. I think is an incredible movie. This one, and another one that I'm going to mention. I don't have the DVD because it's in a box somewhere, which would have been which is actually an honorable mention. But I'll get to that in a minute. So this one is Zombie Flesh Eaters from Lucio Fulci. This is from 1979 or 1980. I think it's 1980. Apparently it's the strong uncut version. This is an interesting one because this one kind of takes in the idea of voodoo as well as like viruses and stuff. And it has some of the best zombies. The opening on the yacht on the Hudson River is great. There's a bit with like a shard of wood that is about to pierce someone's eye. There's a fight with a shark. There's a zombie fight with a shark. It's got Ian McCulloch as well, not the one from Echo and the Bunnymen, but the one from TV series Survivors. He kind of became like the go-to English actor for a lot of these Italian movies in the 70s and 80s. He did this. He did another one as well, another zombie movie. And he did the movie Contamination for, I want to say Luigi Cosi or Lamberto Bava. I think it's Luigi Cosi. I'm not 100% sure. I can't remember. But Lucio Fulci gave us this, which is Zombie Flesh Eaters. Again, like everything, this was successful enough that it had multiple sequels, which are all very, very bad. All of them are awful, except the first Zombie Flesh Eaters. But Fulci was a better director than the ones that came after. He, obviously with Zombie Flesh Eaters, but he made some really, really good, like, sort of gothic zombie films as well. Like The Beyond, I think, is a phenomenal movie. Then there's The House by the Cemetery, which is really good. There's this. Did he make another zombie film as well? I can't remember. But also he did a lot of Giallo movies and like just horror films in general. But this one, Zombie Flesh Eaters, is probably his masterpiece of zombie cinema, and then followed by The Beyond. But The Beyond is a little bit a bit more mystical, I guess you could say. But yeah, Zombie Flesh Eaters, cool movie. So that is my 10 favorite zombie films. Now, I've seen a lot of zombie cinema. Like I said, from the good ones to the bad ones, to the ones shot on VHS, to the ones shot on digital, to the ones shot on film. That could take in anything from movies like Shadow Dead Riot, which is awful, to The Video Dead, which is awful, to Dead Genesis, which is awful, to Dead Set, the TV series set in the Big Brother house. Very cool TV series by Charlie Brooker, who went on and then did Black Mirror. There's also stuff like what else is there? There's so many zombie movies that I've seen that I can't remember all the names of. There's a lot of zombie films around. A lot of low-budget zombie films around. Oh, the Dead Next Door, which is not bad, but it's very, very low budget. It's shot like very independently. The Dead Next Door, Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things, Death Dream? Is it Death Dream? Which is a really, really cool film by Bob Clark. It's about a Vietnam soldier who comes home and he's been infected and turns into a zombie. That's really cool. Harold's Going Stiff. Devil's Playground. What else is there? I can't remember. There's just so many zombie movies. And because zombie movies are easy to make, you just put a bit of grey makeup on your mate, run out into the woods and film him running around going, ooh. And yeah, you've got a zombie movie. But these are what I would say are my personal favourite zombie movies. Yes, I was going to include Reanimator, but there's not a huge amount of zombies in them. Or in it. Same with Evil Dead. Evil Dead I don't class as a zombie film, even though people do class it as in that genre. They're more demons. Like their souls have been taken over by the Necronomicon and the Deadites and stuff like that. So I don't class that as a zombie movie, whereas these movies are specifically about the living dead. Another really good one that I wanted to mention is the movie my brain's broken. Don't worry about that. It was on the tip of my tongue, and now it's completely died. Something City. It's from 1981. It's about zombies. It's an Italian movie. It's got Hugo Stiglitz in it. I want to say Naked City. It's not called Naked City. Nightmare City. There you go. It's called Nightmare City. A really fun, fast zombie moving, like zombies that can wield weapons and stuff. Fun movie. Same as the movie Demons as well. Another Italian movie. Not necessarily zombies, but it has that kind of feel to it. So yeah. But honourable mentions. One of the ones that I mentioned that I did want to talk about was another. It is Italian, but it's also I think it's Italian. It might be Spanish. Is the movie Let Sleeping Corpses Lie, aka The Living Dead at the Manchester Morgue. It is a European zombie film filmed in 1975 or 1974 in the Lake District in the UK, and it's a really fun, sort of like really good, underappreciated and underrated zombie movie with really impressive cinematography for a low budget zombie film. And yeah, so that was one that I really wanted to talk about, that I wanted just to mention as an honorable mention because my DVD's still in storage. But like two honorable mentions is I am not a fan of this series of movies, but the reason I still have this is because I don't want to part with it, because I might have to reevaluate it again and again and again and again until it actually grows on me. But I can't not include this because of what it did for the genre in modern cinema, and it's the movie 28 Days Later by Danny Boyle. I'm not a fan of this film. I actually prefer 28 Weeks Later. I hated 28 Years Later, and I have yet to see 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple. But 28 Days Later, I understand why it's so popular. I just don't fucking get it. I'm not a fan. But it's an important movie in the genre. And another one, which I would have included, but I've only seen it maybe once or twice. And I do enjoy it, but for me, this feels too much like The Last of Us. And I believe the book came out before The Last of Us, but that's where I can't differentiate. That's why I can't split them from. And it's the movie The Girl with All the Gifts. It's a very good movie. It's a very good British zombie film with a great cast. It's got Gemma Arterton in it, Paddy Considine and Glenn Close. But like I said, there's too much of it is too familiar and looks and feels too much like the movie, like the game The Last of Us. And when the TV series of The Last of Us came out, again, it's what reminded, like, I was just reminded that Girl with All the Gifts was basically The Last of Us movie before The Last of Us TV series came out. But that's not to knock The Girl with All the Gifts. It's a really, really good film. It's just not one that I could put on my top 10. So that is my top 10. I say top 10. Those are my 10 favourite zombie movies. Hope you enjoyed watching it. I do have other lists of 10 movies coming up. There's going to be 10 70s, 10 60s, 10 50s, 10 50s sci-fi, 10 westerns, 10 80s sci-fi. I've got a lot of ideas. I've made lists and everything. So they'll be coming. I'm looking forward to doing the 70s movie one, which is going to probably be the next video that I record. Or I might actually finish my top 40 80s movies, because I still have to do that. There's still one part left of that, because I only got up to 30. But as usual, my name is Pedro. This is Pedro's Movie Cavern. Hope you enjoyed watching this zombie movie countdown. I will see you all again soon. As usual, I give you a salute, throw up the peace sign, and I'm going to tell you that I am out. Cheers, everyone. Hope you all have a great day and a great week and a great life. And yeah, peace. So yeah, cheers.